Hey there, Storytime friends. I am so glad you could join me today. I have been away for over a week. I didn't get to read to you guys in so long, and so I'm so glad to be back. I hope you've been looking forward to it. In fact, we did 2 books today just to celebrate kind of being back on track. And so earlier this morning, I read a book about farm animals for some little kids, and today we are going to read Violet the Pilot. And it's kind of best for elementary kids or anybody really. It's really interesting. Hey Lucas, good to see you. It is about a little girl named Violet, and she's kind of different. She really likes to tinker, and if you don't know what that word means, it's kind of somebody who likes to kind of engineer stuff, build stuff, or take things apart, just kind of see how things work. And so today we're going to read about Violet the Pilot, and she becomes a hero at the end of the story. So I missed you guys so much. The book today I'm borrowing from my friend Easton. He dropped some books off so that we could continue reading. So thank you, Easton, for sharing your books. And here we go. We're going to read Violet the Pilot. And I'll show you the first page. It's not, it doesn't have any words on it, but I know one of the books we read had some blueprints in the front when we talked about a dream house, and look, this has some blueprints too. She's designing a flying machine, and so you can see there's fans up at the top, there's bike horns, they've got chairs and spatulas, headlights, pickle barrels and hockey sticks, all sorts of things for her plan. This is called the Hornet. This is one of her flying machines. So we are going to go ahead and see what she builds. This is Violet, and this is her dog Orville, and this is Violet the Pilot. Everyone in town knew that Violet Van Winkle was a little different. For starters, she and her parents lived in an odd-looking house next to the junkyard that her father managed. And while other girls were playing with dolls and tea sets, Violet played with monkey wrenches and needle nose pliers. Violet was a mechanical genius. By the time she was 2, she could fix almost any broken appliance in the house. By 4, she could take apart the grandfather clock and completely reassemble it. She didn't have any friends aside from her dog, Orville, who she would spend hours tinkering with things from the yard. Violet's parents were very proud of her, although they weren't too happy about the time she put a lawnmower engine on her cousin's tricycle. Ooh, look at him go! Looks fun, though. The older she got, the more interesting Violet's creations became. Around the time she turned 8, she was building elaborate machines from scratch, and not just any old machines. Hey Danica, thanks for joining. Flying machines. Her parents couldn't believe their eyes when they saw Violet zoom by for the first time. They were a little worried in the beginning, but they quickly saw that she was a pretty good pilot. "Careful not to hit the house," Violet's father would yell. "And put on a sweater," her mother would add. Violet used anything she could find in the junkyard to make her wonderful contraptions. Look, and she's got her dog with her. There was the tub bubbler. See, she's got an anchor and a tub and some bubbles going. And the bicycopter, powered by a bicycle. The rocket can, which looks like some fireworks and a trash can and an umbrella. The pogo plane. I don't know if you guys even know what a pogo stick is, but you jump up and down on it. She made a plane out of it. And the slide glider. That looks pretty fun. And the wingamajig, just to name a few. That one's really cool. Violet's engineering was pretty sound. The only real hazards were tall trees, piles of junk in the yard, and bugs in her teeth. Gross! Kids at school would see Violet eating lunch alone and make fun of her strange books and greasy coveralls. Claude and Clyde Mulrooney were especially obnoxious. They don't look like they're being very nice friends. Then one day, Violet noticed a poster in the drugstore window. Air Show, October 20th, it read. That's only 2 weeks away, Violet thought. Can kids fly in the show? Is homemade aircraft allowed? That night, Violet sat in her room thinking about the air show. She knew it would be a good feeling if one of her planes won a prize, and maybe then the kids at school would be nice to her. Violet pictured exactly where she would hang her blue ribbon. See, she's picturing it right there. She and Orville spent the next few days combing the junkyard for just the right materials. When they had collected a giant pile of stuff, the building began. One day, the Mulrooney twins happened to pass by. "Look, it's that girl from school," one of them said. "What are you doing, weirdo?" "I'm building an airplane," she told them. The twins exploded in laughter, then mumbled something mean as they walked away. Orville barked at the boys, but Violet just went back to her project. "Take it easy, buddy," she said. "We are too busy to worry about them." "Hi, Mr. Jeremy." Finally, after days of hard work, Violet had finished making her flying machine. She named the magnificent new craft the Hornet. Remember we saw the blueprints in the beginning? This is the Hornet. "Wait till the people in the grandstand see me flying this," Violet said to Orville, and he's taking her picture. The test flight was a success. Zoom, zoom, pew, pew. Look at that. Doing loop-de-loops and everything. On the day of the big air show, Violet took off, bursting with excitement. Her parents' faces had beamed with pride when they wished her luck, and she thought about that as she flew through the clear autumn sky. She calculated that the trip would take about 20 minutes, so she would arrive just in time for the start of the show. Suddenly, something caught Violet's eye. In the river below, a group of people were waving frantically. Violet lowered her altitude to get a better look. A troop of Boy Scouts had run into trouble while canoeing. Violet knew she had to help, and fast. Look, they're all in the water. They are definitely in trouble. See him waving her down? Mr. Jeremy says he loves flying. I do too. One day Mr. Jeremy and I jumped out, I watched Mr. Jeremy jump out of an airplane. We'll have to tell that story some other time. It wasn't easy rescuing all the boys, but Violet piloted the Hornet with careful precision. See, she's lowering a tire down and scooping them up. She's got 2 of them there. Saving the Scoutmaster from going over the falls was particularly dangerous. But she did it. Look at all the people she saved on that plane that she built. Violet dropped the grateful Scouts off at the hospital. Then she checked her watch. 3:30, she said to Orville sadly. "We've missed the air show." She turned her plane toward home and sighed. It was a miserable feeling. Yeah, she doesn't look very happy, does she? That evening, Violet had no appetite for dinner. She just went upstairs and sat on her bed. All of a sudden, she heard lots of noise outside the house. She and Orville went to the window and discovered that a crowd of people had gathered. Somebody spotted her. "There's Violet!" the boy shouted jubilantly. "There's our hero!" Look, even her mom and dad are surprised. The Van Winkles stepped outside, squinting from all the flashbulbs that were popping. The press, the mayor, the fire and police chief, even kids and teachers from school had all learned of the rescue that day and had come to praise her. "Young lady, please accept this Medal of Valor as a token of our gratitude and esteem," said the mayor. And he even gave Orville a new collar with a license that read K9 Hero. And from that day on, Violet's parents let her fly whenever she wanted, but her mom still made her wear a sweater. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? I love reading about kids who find a talent or something that they're interested in, and that they work hard at it. I know that lots of you guys have talents and stuff that you work really hard at, whether it's taekwondo or wrestling or cheer or art. I know that there's so many talented friends out there, and so I hope that you guys stick with it just like Violet did, and who knows, someday you might be a hero with your talents. Here is a fun little fact. Remember the dog was named Orville? So he is named after Orville Wright, and if you ask your parents to tell you about Orville Wright, maybe they can, or you can Google it on your computer. But Orville Wright, he and his brother made flying machines just like Violet in our story, and they flew the very first plane ever. They only flew it for like 12 seconds or something like that, but it was the first time an airplane ever flew, and it happened right here in North Carolina. So today, if you are bored and you're looking for something new to learn about, ask your parents if you can learn about Orville Wright, and then you'll know who the dog in the story was named after. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so glad to be back at it. We'll have other story times in the future. Parents, if you need to share this, go ahead. It's public for everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay well and keep reading.